Jaden versus Aster. These two have 3 duels throughout the series. Duel 1 isn't really a duel, it's just Aster sizing up Jaden, and in fact, he uses a deck made up of 8 random booster packs. I mean, his opening play is summon Yugioh. I mean, so, oh my god, Chaz, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there. Duel 2 is serious business. Jaden's Elemental Hero deck is pitted against Aster's half Elemental Hero deck, half Destiny Hero deck. In a shocking twist, Aster wins in the end, and in the process, obliterates Jaden's confidence. In their final duel, this is where all the pieces come into place. Jaden, with newfound resolve and a brand new Neo-Spatian hero deck, spoilers, defeats Aster's Destiny hero deck. But that made me wonder. Considering Aster is one of the best duelists in GX, were there really no ways he could have won? With any changes in plays, could the outcome of the duel have been different? Before we jump into the duel, I just want to say thank you very much for buying all the merch over this past year. It's been an absolute success. So much so that I've made over 300 sales now, and the website that I sell my merch on sent me a free jumper. So I got a little treat out of it. So thank you guys so much. If you would like to pick up any of the merch as well, you're more than welcome to. I'll leave a link down below. We've got TGS Original Tops. We've got all of these over here, whatever takes your fancy. If not, no worries. But for now, let's jump into the duels. The duel begins and Aster goes first. He draws and his opening hand consists of Yugioh, Soul Absorption, Beckoning Light, Reload, Chaos Greed, and Recycle. Aster summons his Yugioh into defense and then ends his turn. Now, with this abysmal starting hand, if Aster was trying to go for the win, he should have shotgun activated Reload immediately, shuffled 5 cards back into the deck, redraw a hand of 5. I assume he would have drew the same cards he would have when he uses it a little bit later. That's probably what he should have done, but he didn't do this. Otherwise, there is literally nothing else he could do with this hand. It's awful. It's Jaden's turn, and he draws. His opening hand consists of Hero Ring, Elemental Hero Avion, Defusion, the Flute of Summoning Kuriboh, Elemental Hero Clayman, and Elemental Hero Sparkman. Jaden summons Sparkman into attack. He enters his battle phase and attacks and destroys Yugioh. Jaden ends his turn. Could Jaden have set the Flute of Summoning Kuriboh or Hero Ring face down? Yes. Is it a big deal? Not really. It's back to Aster, and he draws Wild Nature's Release. With absolutely 0 plays, Aster sets his Beckoning Light trap face down that he calls a garbage card. While it's not wrong, it's kind of harsh. Beckoning Light is not the worst card in the world, so I wouldn't describe it as garbage. There's a place for it. Adding back an Honest during the battle phase is a really good strategy, but yeah, it's not great. He's kind of right here. Anyway, Aster is about to activate his reload spell when...
What's the deal?
It's cool. Just my cell phone. It's me. What up?
Nah, I'm not busy at all.
Aster activates Reload. This card shuffles his entire hand back into the deck and then draws the same amount of cards he shuffled. Aster shuffles back 4 cards. He draws 4 new cards. He gets the Sanctuary in the Sky, Warrior of Zera, Archlord Zerato, and Mystical Shine Ball. Aster activates his field spell, the Sanctuary in the Sky. Now, while this card is on the field, any battle damage involving fairy-type monsters is reduced to 0. Aster summons his Warrior of Zera and then immediately tributes it to special summon his Archlord Zerato. This card can only be summoned by tributing Warrior of Zera on the field, while Sanctuary on the Sky is also on the field. Not only that, but while Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field, Aster can discard 1 light monster. This card can destroy all monsters on the opponent's side of the field. And so, Aster discards his light attributed Mystical Shine Ball from his hand to destroy all monsters on Jaden's field. Sparkman is destroyed. Wide open, Aster attacks Jaden directly. Jaden takes the first damage of the duel. Aster ends his turn. Now, a case can be made to say maybe he should have held on to that Mystical Shine Ball, use this effect later because it's not really benefiting him too much here, apart from a little bit more damage. And I like the idea, but it actually wouldn't have mattered because he can only use this monster's effect once per turn. He can use it on his next turn. That's his last opportunity to use it. So it doesn't really matter. It would have been nice to have a card in his hand because then the next card he's going to draw is Monster Gate. and he could use Monster Gate by getting rid of that card, but then it wouldn't have benefited him anyway because he still can't push for game. So regardless, it basically wouldn't have worked out for him. It's Jaden's turn, and he draws Metamorphosis. He summons his elemental hero Clayman to the field and then activates Metamorphosis. This card tributes a monster to summon a fusion monster of the same level to the field. Jaden tributes the level 4 Clayman to summon his level 4 fusion elemental hero Clay Guardian. He summons it into defense. When summoned, its effect activates. It inflicts 200 damage to the opponent for each card they control. Aster controls 3, so he takes 600 damage. Jaden sets his Flute of Summoning Kuriboh face down and ends his turn. It's Aster's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and gets Monster Gate. Aster activates his set trap, Beckoning Light. By discarding his entire hand, he can add a light monster in his grave back to his hand for each card he discards. He discards Monster Gate to add Mystical Shine Ball back to his hand. He discards it to use Zarato's effects. Clay Guardian is destroyed. Aster moves into his battle phase and attempts to attack for game. However, Jaden activates his Flute of Summoning Kuriboh to summon Wing Kuriboh from his deck straight to the field. A replay occurs and Zerato destroys Wing Kuriboh. With an empty hand and no more plays, Aster ends his turn. Like I mentioned earlier, there's actually no alternative plays on this turn. If he would have kept his Shine Ball from last turn, he could have discarded it to use the Monster Gate. And then if he would have summoned a big enough monster, but that's very unlikely to happen, and then that means he can't use Beckoning Light because he needs to discard a card, which means he won't be able to destroy Clay Guardian, so it's one of those, there was no alternative plays for him this turn. It's Jaden's turn, and the final turn of the duel. He draws and gets Elemental Hero Bubble Man. He summons it to the field. When summoned, while there are no other cards on his field, Bubble Man lets Jaden draw 2 new cards. He gets the Warrior Returning Alive and Polymerization. With all the pieces in place, Jaden goes for game. He sets his Hero Ring Trap face down and then activates the Warrior Returning Alive to add a Warrior in his grave back to his hand. He adds back Sparkman. With Sparkman and Avion in his hand and Bubbleman on his field, Jaden activates Polymerization, fusing all 3 together to make Elemental Hero Tempest. Jaden moves into his battle phase and crashes his Tempest into Zerato. Both would be destroyed, however Jaden uses Tempest's effects. By sending 1 card he controls to the grave, he can make 1 monster on the field and able to be destroyed by battle. He sends his set Hero Ring to make Tempest indestructible. Zerato is destroyed. Now with a wide open field, Jaden activates his quick play spell, Defusion. He splits Tempest into its fusion materials and then uses all 3 to attack Aster directly. Jaden wins the duel. This is an open and shut case duel, one of my favorites where I actually don't have to do that much work. There was nothing. There were really no alternative plays that could have been made throughout this duel. And if there could, it either resulted in probably not a beneficial play, or it just didn't really matter at the end of the day. So yeah, there you go. Could Aster have won this duel? No. Could Jaden have won earlier? Also no. So with that silly duel out the way, it's time to get to the 2 more serious ones. Starting with their first duel, which you might have noticed I'd made before, but I've included it in this video for continuity reasons. I'm going to look very different. The room's going to be completely different. So be ready. Other than that, let's go into their first proper duel. The duel begins and Aster goes first. He draws and his opening hand consists of Elemental Hero Avion, Bestinatrix, Clayman, Sparkman, D-Time, and Destiny Signal. Aster summons Clayman into defense, then ends his turn. Why didn't he set either of his traps face down, which, keep in mind, would have either let him special summon a Destiny Hero monster from his deck if his monster is destroyed, or potentially add at least 1 Destiny Hero from his deck to his hand? Well, the reason that he did this is quite simple. For plot. By not setting them now, it will make for a more dramatic reveal later, when the Destiny Heroes finally get revealed. If you want to put another reason to it, maybe Aster's just so confident that he can win this duel, he can hold back a little bit every now and then. Regardless, I'm going to count this as a misplay for Aster. It's Jaden's turn and he draws. His opening hand consists of Elemental Hero Avion, Bestinatrix, Necroshade, Polymerization, the Warrior Returning Alive, and Light Laser. Jaden begins by activating Polymerization, fusing his Avion and Bestinatrix together to make Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. Jaden enters his battle phase and attacks Clayman. which is destroyed. Due to Flame Wingman's effect, Aster is dealt damage equal to Clayman's attack. Jaden ends his turn. It's back to Aster and he draws Polymerization. The dub makes an error here, showing Aster with an almost completely different hand. These dub animation errors are going to happen a lot in this duel, so buckle up. Aster plays Polymerization, and like Jaden, he also fuses his Avion and Bastinatrix together. However, instead he creates the elemental hero Phoenix Enforcer, whose effect makes it unable to be destroyed by battle. Aster uses Phoenix Enforcer to crash into Flame Wingman. However, only Flame Wingman is destroyed. Aster ends his turn. I should quickly touch on something that isn't too important, but it's definitely something worth mentioning. Aster plays an elemental hero deck, right? So he has all of the elemental hero main deck monsters. We don't see him use all of them, like Blade Edge and things like that. At the very least, he plays the core 5. But what I'm more curious about is his extra deck. Is he playing an identical extra deck to Jaden, with perhaps the only exception being he's playing a Phoenix Enforcer instead of a Flame Wingman? Or does he have completely alternate versions of all of the elemental heroes? Because he does say in this duel that his Phoenix Enforcer sort of mirrors him, like how Flame Wingman mirrors Jaden. That's why they differ. Unfortunately, there's no answer to this because Aster never uses any other elemental hero fusion monsters, so I can't answer that in today's video, but I'll let you guys be the judge. I did do a poll on this, asking you lot what you thought about this, but I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments. Does Aster have an identical extra deck to Jaden? Let me know. Anyway, putting that aside, it's back to Jaden and he draws Elemental Hero Bubbleman. He summons it to the field, and then, due to its anime effect, since it's the only card that he has, he's allowed to draw 2 new cards. He gets Elemental Hero Sparkman and another Polymerization. He plays the Warrior Returning Alive in order to add Avion back to his hand. Then he activates Polymerization to fuse Bubbleman, Sparkman and Avion together to make Elemental Hero Tempest. Tempest attacks Phoenix Enforcer, but due to the latter's effect, it is not destroyed. Regardless though, Aster still takes the damage. Jaden ends his turn. Let's stop right there. Could Jaden have made a superior elemental hero fusion monster here? Because he had a lot of options to go for. To know the answer to that, we need to know what his extra deck looks like. And guess what? I've made it. This is what Jaden's extra deck looks like at this point in the anime. So if we go back to when Jaden activates the Warrior Returning Alive, let's wait a second and consider our options. Jaden has Sparkman, Bubbleman, Necroshade, and then he can either add Bastinatrix or Avion for materials. Knowing this means his fusion options are Elemental Hero Marina, which wouldn't have helped, Elemental Hero Darkbright, which again wouldn't have helped here, Elemental Hero Steam Healer, well, that definitely wouldn't have helped. Or the final choice, Elemental Hero Tempest, which, despite not having a very good effect at all, it is the only monster he could make that had superior attack to Phoenix Enforcer. So in actuality, Jaden did make the right choice here. It's Aster's turn and he draws his second Polymerization. He activates it and fuses his Sparkman and Phoenix Enforcer together to make Elemental Hero Shining Phoenix Enforcer. Now, due to its effect, it gains 300 attack for each elemental hero in Aster's grave. Since there are 5, its attack increases to 4,000. Oh, and look! Another dub error. Is that VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon? That should be Phoenix Enforcer. How embarrassing. Anyway, Shining Phoenix Enforcer then attacks and destroys Tempest. Aster sets D-Time face down and ends his turn. It's Jaden's turn and he draws Pot of Greed. He plays it and draws 2 new cards, which are Miracle Fusion and Skyscraper. Jaden plays Miracle Fusion, banishing from his grave Flame Wingman and Sparkman to summon Shining Flare Wingman. It too gains 300 attack for every elemental hero in the grave. However, with only 4 monsters, Shining Flare Wingman's attack increases to only 3,700. But Jaden has a plan. First, he plays his equipped spell, Light Laser, and attaches it to Shining Flare Wingman. Its effect makes it so it can only be equipped to a light monster, but now any monster that monster battles with is banished at the end of the damage step. Jaden then activates his field spell, Skyscraper, and attacks Phoenix Enforcer. Skyscraper boosts Shining Flare Wingman's attack by 1,000, the damage is dealt, and then due to Light Laser's effect, Shining Phoenix Enforcer is banished. And it is here where Aster switches his strategy. He reveals that since a hero monster was removed from his side of the field, he can activate his trap, D-Time, which lets him add as many Destiny hero monsters from his deck whose total levels are equal to or less than Phoenix Enforcer's. Since Phoenix Enforcer was a level 8, he adds the level 4 Diamond Dude and the level 3 Doom Lord. Jaden ends his turn. It's Aster's turn and he draws the field spell Clock Tower Prison. He activates it, which destroys Jaden's field spell Skyscraper. Now, every time Jaden's standby phase occurs, Clock Tower Prison will receive 1 clock counter. Then, when there are 4 or more counters, Aster will no longer receive any battle damage. Also, if Clock Tower Prison is destroyed whilst it has 4 or more clock counters on it, then he can special summon 1 Destiny Hero monster from his hand, deck, or grave. Aster summons Destiny Hero Doomlord, and then uses its effect to banish Shining Flare Wingman into the future. It will return to the field 2 turns later, during Aster's second standby phase. However, by doing this, Doomlord is unable to attack this turn. Aster sets Destiny Signal face down and ends his turn. It's back to Jaden and he draws Rottweiler. The standby phase occurs and Clock Tower Prison gains its first clock counter. Jaden normal summons Rottweiler and then attacks and destroys Doomlord. Since a monster was destroyed though, Aster activates his face down Destiny Signal to special summon Captain Tenacious from his deck straight to the field. I do like the line that Jaden gives here.
It's my destiny signal!
That's real original.
I heard that!
Anyway, Jaden ends his turn. It's Aster's turn and he draws and he gets D-Shield. The standby phase occurs and Captain Tenacious's effect kicks in, which lets it summon 1 monster that was destroyed during the previous turn's battle phase. Doomlord returns back from the grave. Following this, Aster normal summons Diamond Dude and then uses its effect. He reveals the top card of his deck, and then if it's a normal spell, he can activate it during his next main phase. The card sent is Misfortune. Aster enters his battle phase and attacks Rottweiler with Diamond Dude. It's destroyed and Jaden receives damage. However, due to the effect of Rottweiler, Jaden can add Polymerization and 1 elemental hero monster from his grave to his hand. Captain Tenacious, with no monsters left on the field, then attacks directly. Jaden life points are reduced down to a mere 1400. Aster ends by setting D-Shield face down. Eagle-eyed viewers might have noticed something here. Aster still has 1 more attack, Doomlord. He hasn't used its ability this turn, so it's more than capable of attacking. Well, had Aster attacked with Doomlord, that meant that Jaden would only have 800 life points left. And that'll become very important a little bit later. But that doesn't really matter, because there's an even superior play that Aster could have done here. What he should have done was use Doomlord's ability to banish Rottweiler instead. Why? Well, because it allows Captain Tenacious and Diamond Dude to attack directly, which would leave Jaden with 600 life points left. But more importantly, it would deny Jaden the ability to add an elemental hero from his grave and a polymerization. And with no Bubble Man in his hand and no polymerization, he's bricked. So unfortunately, Aster, I'm going to have to give you another misplay here. It's back to Jaden and he draws Bubble Blaster. The standby phase occurs and Clock Tower Prison gains its second clock counter. Jaden summons Bubble Man and then for its effect he draws 2 new cards. These are Defusion and Elemental Hero Clayman. Jaden activates Bubble Blaster, equipping it to Bubble Man. This increases its attack to 1600. Jaden enters his battle phase and attacks Captain Tenacious. But Aster activates his face down D-Shield, which attaches to Tenacious, switches it to defense, and makes it unable to be destroyed by battle. Jaden ends his turn. Now I've just realized this while making the video, he does have Bubble Man, Clayman, Polymerization, and Defusion all together. So if he wanted to, he could make a Mudball Man here, and then he has the option to defuse if he wants to. But I don't think that's a great play, so I don't know why I brought it up. But that was an option that was available to him there. I've just realized it afterwards. I didn't write it down, so I just thought I'd quickly mention it. It's Aster's turn, and he draws Terraforming. The standby phase occurs, and since 2 turns have passed, Elemental Hero Shining Flare Wingman returns to the field. Aster reminds Jaden of Diamond Dude's effect. Misfortune, the card that he had sent during the last turn, now activates. Half of the original attack points of a monster are dealt as damage to the owner. Aster targets Shining Flare Wingman. Jaden receives 1250 damage, which leaves him with 150 life points left. Remember when I said the previous turn he could have attacked with that Doomlord? Well, had he attacked with that Doomlord back then, Misfortune's ability right here would have won him the duel. Regardless, due to Misfortune's second effect, Aster isn't able to declare an attack. So instead, he re-banishes Shining Flare Wingman through Doomlord's effect and ends his turn. It's back to Jaden and he draws Burial from a Different Dimension. The standby phase occurs and Clock Tower Prison receives its 3rd clock counter. Jaden enters his battle phase and attacks Doomlord with Bubble Man. Doomlord is destroyed and Aster receives 1000 damage, leaving him with a mere 600 life points left. Jaden summons elemental hero Clayman into defense and ends his turn. It's Aster's turn and he draws Ring of Magnetism. The standby phase occurs and Doomlord is revived through Captain Tenacious's effect. Aster uses the effect of Diamond Dude again to reveal the top card of his deck. The card revealed is Magical Stone Excavation. It is sent to the grave. Aster then uses Doomlord's effect to banish Bubbleman for 2 turns. Bubble Blaster is destroyed as a result. Following this, he plays his Ring of Magnetism, equipping it to Captain Tenacious, which decreases its attack and defense, but makes it so that it is the only monster that can be attacked on his side of the field. Sadly, since Clayman's defense is too high, Aster is forced to end his turn here. It's Jaden's turn and he draws Elemental Hero Wildheart. We actually get to see his hand here, and it's completely wrong in the dub. What his actual hand should look like is this: Burial from a Different Dimension, Defusion, Necro Shade, Wildheart, and Polymerization. The standby phase occurs and the 4th Clock Tower counter is added to Clock Tower Prison. Now, unbeknownst to Jaden, all battle damage to Aster is negated. Jaden plays his Polymerization to fuse Wildheart and Necro Shade together to make Elemental Hero Necroid Shaman, whose effect is when it's summoned to the field, Jaden can pick 1 monster on Aster's side of the field to send to the grave, and then special summon 1 monster from his grave to replace it. Jaden chooses Captain Tenacious to go to the grave, D-Shield and Ring of Magnetism are also destroyed as a result. Then he declares Avion to be summoned to the field in attack position. Necroid Shaman then attacks and destroys Doomlord. However, Aster takes no battle damage thanks to his field spell. Jaden sets Burial from a Different Dimension and Defusion face down and ends his turn. Now, while this turn is absolutely fine, Jaden could have built a little bit more on his play. After attacking Doomlord with Necroid Shaman, he could have also used Defusion to bring Wildheart and Necro Shade to the field. Both could then attack over Diamond Dude and Avion, literally wiping out Aster's entire field. Of course, Aster won't take any damage from this, but now his field is completely empty. However, I can see why Jaden might not do this, because it runs the risk of one of his monsters getting attacked, and he's only got 150 life points left. And of course, Jaden knows about Diamond Dude's ability, which is going to get Magical Stone Excavation next turn. He could assume he's going to get Misfortune back, and ultimately Defusion will save his life if he holds on to it, so I'm not going to count it as a misplay, it's fine. Anyway, it's back to Aster and he draws Fusion Sage. The standby phase occurs and Shining Flare Wingman returns to the field once again. Aster's Diamond Dude's effect also kicks in from the previous turn, allowing Aster to activate Magical Stone Excavation. This card allows him to add 1 spell from his grave, as long as he discards 2 cards. He discards Fusion Sage and Terraforming to add back Misfortune. He plays it again on Shining Flare Wingman. If this is successful, Aster wins the duel. However, Jaden, smartly I might add, plays Defusion and then chains Burial from a Different Dimension to it. The reason why this is really clever is because Jaden considered how things resolved so that Defusion would work. What I mean by this is that effects resolve in reverse order in Yu-Gi-Oh! So, Burial resolves first since it was activated second, which meant that he could add Wingman and Sparkman back into his grave. And then Defusion would resolve second since it was played first. Now, since the target is no longer present, Misfortune's effect fizzles. However, what doesn't fizzle is that Aster can no longer attack this turn. Aster is forced to end his turn here. And unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, Aster, you misplayed again. You got a little bit greedy this turn. If you would have picked any other monster apart from the Fusion monster, you would have won. If you'd have picked Bubbleman, I know it's only 400 damage, but that's enough to win you the duel, and you can't defuse a Bubbleman. Now, of course, to know this, you would have to assume that Jaden does have a Defusion in his deck. It's a fusion deck, he's played Defusion a lot. It's safe to kind of assume that. However, if I was in Aster's shoes, I probably would have picked Shining Flare Wingman as well. Because it's the biggest monster on the field, it's going to deal the most amount of damage. There's always a chance, because Jaden has 2 face downs, that he's got maybe a elemental recharge, or something along those lines that could give him life points back, so I guess you'd want to do as much damage as possible. Anyway, it's back to Jaden, and he draws Fusion Gate. He activates it, which causes Clock Tower Prison to be destroyed. However, this is what Aster wanted. Now, since Clock Tower Prison was destroyed, while it had 4 clock counters on it, its final effect kicks in. Aster special summons his boss monster, Destiny Hero Dreadmaster. When summoned, Dreadmaster destroys all non-Destiny Hero monsters on his side of the field. Then, it special summons 2 Destiny Hero monsters from his grave. Aster summons back Doomlord and Captain Tenacious. Now, Dreadmaster's Aster's original attack points become equal to the combined attack of all other Destiny Hero monsters on his side of the field. Lastly, and most importantly, and unbeknownst to Jaden, during the turn Dreadmaster is summoned, Destiny Heroes cannot be destroyed, and the owner receives no battle damage from battles involving them. And unfortunately, it is here that Jaden makes a huge misplay. He activates the effect of Fusion Gate, banishing his Clayman and Sparkman to make Elemental Hero Thunder Giant. Due to its effect, when its fusion summoned, it can destroy one monster with less original attack than it. Jaden chooses Diamond Dude, with the hopes of reducing Dreadmaster's attack, making it weak enough to be destroyed by battle. However, this is where Aster reveals his Dreadmaster's protection abilities. Nothing is destroyed. Jaden reluctantly ends his turn here. We'll come back to this turn in just a second, but for now, the final turn. It's Aster's turn and the final turn of the duel. He draws, but it doesn't even matter what it is, as Aster simply enters his battle phase, attacks, and wins the duel. So the question now becomes, could Jaden have won this duel? Let's find out.
Jaden lost! His cards!
Let's go back to Jaden's final turn. He activates the effect of Fusion Gate and fuses Sparkman and Clayman together to make Elemental Hero Thunder Giant. How about instead of that, we make Elemental Hero Shining Flare Wingman again, since it's back in the extra deck. This would create a stronger monster than Dreadmaster, and would also let him keep Clayman on the field in defense. So now Jaden would have Shining Flare Wingman, Clayman, and Necroid Shaman. This time when Jaden declares an attack on any of the monsters, thinking he has game, when that fails, he can simply switch Necroid Shaman to defense, since it hasn't declared an attack yet. Now, when Aster's turn happens, depending on whether he draws another monster, he will now have to banish Flare Wingman with Doomlord's effect, since it's now a threat. Dreadmaster would then attack over Necroid Shaman, since it has a high attack, and would be a threat next turn. However, now Jaden's Clayman's defense is too high for the rest of the Destiny Hero monsters to get over. Aster will have to end by using Diamond Dude's ability once more, and that's it. Jaden gets to live for another turn. He gets to draw a card, and depending on what that is, he might be able to make a comeback. Honestly, it's anyone's game after this, but what we have done is bought Jaden another turn and a potential to possibly win the duel.
And with that, that's the second duel done. Let's move on to their final duel. The duel begins and Aster goes first. He draws and his opening hand consists of Destiny Hero Diamond Dude, Destiny Hero Doomlord, Destiny Hero Captain Tenacious, Ring of Magnetism, and 2 mysterious cards. Now these 2 mysterious cards are going to get blown up by Jaden and we never see them or they never get referenced throughout the rest of the duel. They're not monsters, I think they're spells or traps, most likely trap cards, so they get blown up but they have to have been useless because he doesn't set any of them on the first turn, so whatever they are, it doesn't matter. Aster summons his Diamond Dude to the field. He activates its effect to reveal the top card of his deck. If it's a normal spell, it will be sent to the grave, and its effect will be activated on his next main phase. Graceful Charity is revealed. It is sent to the grave. Aster ends his turn. It's Jaden's turn, and he draws. His opening hand consists of Neospatian Aqua Dolphin, Elemental Hero Blade Edge, Hero Kid, Fake Hero, H-Heated Heart, and Negate Attack. Now, I just want to mention something about this duel. Neospatians are fan favorite cards, don't get me wrong, but they're not great, if I'm being completely honest with you. They tear through your deck very fast because they require so much resources to be used. Like, you need the field spell, you need this on the field, you also need to get Neos, which needs a card to get it out and stuff. So you're going to notice that Jaden's duel, he's going to tear through his hands as soon as he gets them. And he's going to require a lot of, Pot of Greed. Oh, Graceful Charity. He's going to get a lot of those kind of cards. So just keep that in mind throughout the duel. I think it's kind of funny when you notice it. Jaden summons his Aqua Dolphin to the field. He activates Fake Hero, which lets him special summon an Elemental Hero in his hand. However, it can't attack and it's returned to the hand at the end of the turn. He summons Elemental Hero Blade Edge. Jaden activates Aqua Dolphin's effect by discarding a card in his hand, so he can look at Aster's hand and destroy a monster in it if it has less attack than a monster on his field as well. Aster will also take 500 damage. Jaden discards his Hero Kid. He looks at Aster's hand and chooses Destiny Hero Captain Tenacious to be destroyed, since Blade Edge has higher attack. Aster takes the first damage of the duel. Jaden sets Negate Attack and H-Heated Heart face down and ends his turn. As he does, Blade Edge returns back to his hand. Can I just say as well, I've just noticed that he didn't even deal with the Diamond Dude on the field. He's just used his entire hand. His hand is gone. And
Diamond Dude is still on the field. Oops. It's back to Aster, and he draws Elemental Recharge. The effect of Graceful Charity activates here. Aster draws 3 new cards. He gets Destiny Hero Dreadmaster, Mausoleum of the Emperor, and Destiny Signal. He discards Destiny Hero Doomlord and Ring of Magnetism. Aster activates his field spell, Mausoleum of the Emperor. Now, while this card is on the field, both players can summon high-level monsters without tributing by instead paying 500 life points for each tribute required. Aster pays 1000 life points to summon Destiny Hero Dreadmaster without tribute. Dreadmaster's on-summon effect activates. It destroys all of Aster's monsters that aren't Destiny Heroes, and then special summons up to 2 Destiny Heroes in his grave. The attack and defense of this card is the total attack of all other Destiny Heroes on the field. Aster summons back Captain Tenacious and Doomlord. Dreadmaster gains 2800 attack and defense. Aster moves into his battle phase and attempts to go for game as he attacks Aqua Dolphin with Dreadmaster. However, Jaden activates Negate Attack to negate the attack and end the battle phase. Aster ends his turn. It's Jaden's turn, and he draws Elemental Hero Neos. Fun fact, the animators got the card wrong, as Jaden's shown drawing Mausoleum of the Emperor. I think this happens because Jaden verbally said, I'm going to use your card against you, Mausoleum of the Emperor. Maybe the animator was like, oh, okay, so he's drew that card as well to use. Unless it was just a mistake, I don't know. Jaden pays 1000 life points to use Mausoleum to summon Neos without any tributes. Jaden contact fuses Neos and Aqua Dolphin together to summon Elemental Hero Aqua Neos. He activates its effect. Once per turn, by discarding 1 card, Jaden can select 2 random cards in the opponent's hand and destroy them. Jaden discards Blade Edge. Aster's 2 mysterious cards in his hand are destroyed and sent to the grave. Jaden follows up this play by activating his set H-Heated Heart. This increases the attack of a monster by 500 and gives it piercing battle damage until the end of the turn. Aqua Neos attacks and destroys Dreadmaster. With no more plays, Jaden ends his turn. However, as he does, the detrimental effect of Neos fusions activates, which forces them back into the extra deck at the end of turns. So fun fact, Jaden had absolutely no idea about this detrimental ability. It's like the first time he's using the Neos fusion, so he's like, well, what happened to my monster? Reads the card. Oh, whoops, I won't do that again. So at least he's reading his cards now. But was there any alternative plays he could have gone for? Well, instead of contact fusing, I mean, ripping 2 cards out your opponent's hand that's an incredible ability to have. That's very strong. Do you think that was the right move to make, but having your monster go back into the deck? In hindsight, somehow Jaden survives the next turn. Absolutely crazy, but had we not known he was going to survive, then yeah, he probably should have a different move. Either summon the Blade Edge or the Neos, and then boost its attack by 500 to get rid of the Dreadmaster, and then you get to keep a monster on the field, which is good. I thought maybe he could do piercing battle damage and attack like Captain Tenacious with 800 defense, but it's not enough to go for game. So 3100 minus 800. Aster's got like 2500 life points. It's a lot of damage, but not enough to push for game. So yeah, what he did turns out to be the best possible choice he could have done, but there were alternative plays. It's Aster's turn, and luckily for Jaden, he draws Dark City. Without a monster to push for game this turn, Aster moves straight into his battle phase and orders Doomlord, Diamond Dude, and Captain Tenacious to all attack Jaden directly. Jaden survives by the skin of his teeth. Aster ends his turn. Honestly, it's such a shame that Aster couldn't get a monster on this turn, but obviously if you don't have the cards to bring a monster to the field, you can't win, can you? Oh wait, he does! He has a monster on the field that has the very special ability that once per turn during your standby phase, you can target 1 Destiny Hero monster in your graveyard that was destroyed by a battle the previous turn and special summon it. Meaning he could have summoned Dreadmaster back to the field, summon it into attack, everything would have attacked directly. That's 5600 combined attack. What? I have absolutely no idea why Aster didn't do this play, because he did it before. Dreadmaster was destroyed by a monster battling it, so I don't understand. It's a huge misplay, Aster. I guess the only reason this happened is so that Jaden can go on to win the duel. It's Jaden's turn, and he draws Elemental Hero Bubble Man. Since Bubble Man is the only card in Jaden's hand, he can special summon it to the field. As well, since it was summoned to a completely empty field, Jaden can draw 2 new cards. He gets Pot of Greed and Bubble Blaster. He activates Pot of Greed to draw 2 new cards.
He gets Neospatian Air Hummingbird and Disgraceful Charity. Jaden activates Bubble Blaster, equipping it to Bubble Man to increase its attack by 800 and make it so that Bubble Man's destruction can be negated once by destroying this card instead. Jaden summons his Neospatian Air Hummingbird and uses its effect, which allows Jaden's life points to be increased by 500 for each card in the opponent's hand. Since there are 3, he gains 1500 life points. Jaden enters his battle phase and orders Bubble Man to destroy Captain Tenacious. Air Hummingbird destroys Doomlord. Jaden sets his Disgraceful Charity face down and ends his turn. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Aster should have threw that Destiny signal face down on the field either on the last turn or the turn before, because then you could get some serious board presence, but you know, you do you, dude. Just leave these cards for absolutely ages. It's Aster's turn, and he draws Destiny Hero Double Dude. He activates a new field spell, Dark City. Mausoleum of the Emperor is sent to the grave. Now, while this card is on the field, Destiny Hero monsters gain 1000 attack when they attack a stronger monster. Aster tributes Diamond Dude to summon Double Dude. Double Dude has the ability to attack twice, and if it's destroyed, it summons 2 tokens during Aster's next standby phase. Double Dude attacks Bubble Man. Dark City boosts its attack to 2000. Bubble Man isn't destroyed and no battle damage is dealt, since Jaden sent Bubble Blaster to the grave to protect it. However, Double Dude attacks again, this time targeting Air Hummingbird. It is destroyed. Aster sets his Destiny signal face down and ends his turn. Now, I know Aster's life points are pretty low here. He's only got 1300, but he should have used Mausoleum of the Emperor before he put Dark City on the field. Use Mausoleum, pay 500 life points, summon Double Dude. You've now got Double Dude and Diamond Dude, and then you put Dark City on the field. How would this have changed the turn? Well, had this been done, Bubble Man would also have been destroyed this turn, and Jaden's life points would have been reduced to 900. This means that Jaden won't be able to make his play on his next turn, which means Aster just wins on his next turn. So yes, net again. Aster, you've misplayed again. Honestly, I really think they nerfed Aster big time in this duel, because he's missing so many opportunities with cards on his field. It's kind of nuts. It's Jaden's turn, and he draws Graceful Charity. He activates it to draw 3 new cards. He gets Neospatian Flare Scarab, Common Soul, and Kidguard. He discards Flare Scarab and Common Soul. Since a card was discarded due to a spell effect, Jaden can activate his set trap, Disgraceful Charity. This lets him add all cards discarded by a spell effect back to his hand. Jaden adds back his Flare Scarab and Common Soul. He activates Common Soul. Now he can select a monster on the field and then special summon a Neospatian in his hand. The selected monster on the field gains attack equal to the attack of the monster summoned. When this card is removed from the field, the Neospatian summoned by this effect is returned to the hand. Jaden targets Bubble Man and summons Neospatian Flare Scarab. Flare Scarab's effect increases its attack by 400 for each spell and trap Aster controls. Since Aster controls 2, Flare Scarab gains 800 attack. Bubble Man gains the attack of Flare Scarab thanks to Common Soul. Jaden enters his battle phase and attacks and destroys Double Dude with Bubble Man. Since a monster Aster controls was destroyed by a battle, Aster activates his Destiny Signal, which lets him special summon a level 4 or lower Destiny Hero from his deck. He summons the 2700 defense Destiny Hero Defender. Unable to attack over Defender, Jaden ends his turn. Now, unfortunately for Aster, he's made a misplay here because he could have won on his next turn. How? Summoning any other monster apart from Defender. Don't get me wrong, I understand why Defender. 2700 defense, that's a really tough monster to get over. But the detrimental ability of Destiny Hero Defender is 1, it has no attack points, and 2, your opponent gets to draw an extra card for each of their turns. That sucks. We don't want to give our opponent that. Plus, it also means now on our turn, we can't go on the offensive. So what should we have done instead? The winning play was to summon Destiny Hero Dunker. It has 1700 defense, making it strong enough to survive Flare Scarab. With 1200 attack, it can also contribute to the offense on the next turn. So now what happens when he gets to Aster's turn, he draws Mystical Space Typhoon. 2 Double Dude tokens are summoned to the field into attack. Activate Mystical Space Typhoon, destroy Common Soul. Flare Scarab is bounced back to Jaden's hand, and Bubble Man's attack returns to 800. Switch Dunker into attack. Double Dude token number 1 attacks Bubble Man. That's 200 damage. Double Dude token 2 attacks directly. That's 1000 damage. Destiny Hero Dunker attacks for game.
Aster, you misplayed again. That's like the third or fourth time you could have won this duel so far. Woofed. It's Aster's turn, and he draws Mystical Space Typhoon. The standby phase occurs, and 2 Double Dude tokens are summoned to his field. Aster uses Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy Common Soul. Since Common Soul was removed from the field, Flare Scarab is returned back to Jaden's hand, and Bubbleman's attack returns to normal. Aster enters his battle phase and uses 1 Double Dude token to destroy Bubbleman. The second attacks Jaden directly. Aster ends his turn. Wait a minute. Now that I think about it, he didn't need to do all that on the last turn that I suggested. He can still win this turn. We've got Dark City on the field. Switch Defender into attack. Yeah, it's only got 100 attack points, but wait a minute. Attack Bubbleman. We gain 1,000 attack points thanks to Dark City. Guess how much extra damage we do? 300, meaning we get perfect game. Oh my God. It doesn't end. There's so many ways for Aster to win this duel. It's ridiculous. Aster, blink twice. It's the plot. Is it the plot? Is the plot making you do this? It's back to Jaden, and he draws the Shallow Grave. The standby phase occurs, and due to Defender's detrimental effect, Jaden draws an additional card. He gets Spell Calling. Jaden activates the Shallow Grave, letting both players summon a monster in their graves into defense. Jaden summons his Hero Kid. Aster summons his Dreadmaster. Due to Hero Kid's effect, when it is special summoned, it summons 2 more copies of itself from the deck to the field. Due to Dreadmaster's effect, when it's summoned, the 2 Double Dude tokens are destroyed. Aster summons Diamond Dude and Captain Tenacious into defense. Dreadmaster's attack and defense increases to 2300. Jaden summons his Flare Scarab back to the field and uses it to attack and destroy Captain Tenacious. Jaden sets his Kid Guard and Spell Calling face down and ends his turn. Note that Dreadmaster's ability that prevents monsters it summons from being destroyed by battle on the turn that it summons them only works if Dreadmaster is summoned into attack, because I was about to lay into Aster saying like, oh, your monsters shouldn't have been destroyed because Dreadmaster summoned them, but it had to be summoned into attack to have this ability live, which it wasn't, and it couldn't have been because of Shallow Graves. But that might all be a lie as well, because there is a version of Dreadmaster that does state that it doesn't need to be summoned into attack to protect the monsters when it's summoned. So I'm actually not too sure. There's 2 different versions of Dreadmaster floating around. I don't know which effect is being applied here because the Japanese text is so small, I can barely see. It's just, if you can see the word attack position on that card, then the former applies. If not, then this version applies, which means that Aster did misplay, but that's as good as going to get from me, unfortunately. It's inconclusive. It's Aster's turn, and he draws Pot of Greed. He activates it to draw 2 new cards. He gets D-Shield and Destiny Hero Dogma. Aster tributes Dreadmaster, Defender, and Diamond Dude to special summon Destiny Hero Dogma. Aster moves into his battle phase and orders Dogma to attack Flare Scarab, attempting to go for game. However, Jaden activates his Kid Guard. By tributing a Hero Kid, he can negate an attack and then add an elemental hero from his deck to his hand. 1 of the 3 Hero Kids are tributed. Dogma's attack is negated, and Jaden adds elemental hero Neos to his hand. With no more attacks, Aster ends his turn by setting D-Shield face down. And again, I have to ask, Aster could have won the duel. Before summoning Dogma, he should have switched Dreadmaster, Diamond Dude, and Defender into attack. Dreadmaster attack Flare Scarab, attempting to go for game. Kid Guard negates the attack. Attack again with Diamond Dude. Flare Scarab is destroyed, Jaden takes 400 damage, and loses the duel. And if that second attack would have been negated, we still could have won with a third attack off Defender because Dark City would have given it a boost to 1100, and we still would have won. And then after all this, I mean, if he didn't lose, we just summon out Dogma anyway. It's ridiculous, it is crazy. It's Jaden's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and gets Neospace. The standby phase occurs and the effect of Dogma activates, which halves Jaden's life points. Jaden activates his brand new field spell, Neospace. This destroys Aster's Dark City, due to only 1 field spell being able to be live on the field at a time. Neospace increases the attack of fusion monsters by 500 that used elemental hero Neos as a fusion material. As well, Neos fusion monsters don't return back to the extra deck at the end of the turn. Jaden tributes his 2 Hero Kids to summon elemental hero Neos. He contact fuses Neos with Flare Scarab to summon elemental hero Flare Neos. Flare Neos gains 400 attack for every spell and trap on the field. Since there are 3, it gains 1200 attack. As well, Neospace increases its attack by 500. Jaden enters his battle phase and attacks Dogma. Aster in response activates his D-Shield, which switches Dogma into defense and then equips itself to it. Now, while equipped, the monster can't be destroyed by battle. Jaden ends his turn. It's Aster's turn, and the final turn of the duel. He draws and gets Heavy Storm Blade. Aster switches Dogma into attack. He equips Heavy Storm Blade onto Dogma. Now, while this card is equipped, when Dogma attacks, it will destroy all other spells and traps on the field. Aster enters his battle phase and orders Dogma to attack Flare Neos. Heavy Storm Blade's effect activates, destroying Neospace and Spell Calling. Flare Neos loses 1300 attack. Now, this would be game for Aster. However, unfortunately, since Aster destroyed a set Spell Calling due to its effect when it's sent to the grave, it allows Jaden to set any 2 spell cards from his deck straight to the field. He sets 2 mysterious spell cards. Aster was unaware of this play, but it doesn't really matter anyway because the attack couldn't be cancelled. So, since it's now weaker than Flare Neos, it crashes and destroys itself. Aster's life points drop to 0. Jaden wins the duel.
最初の手抜きデュエルはノーカウント。これで1勝1敗だ。ああ、いずれ決着をつけよう。
And then they never dueled again. Honestly, with this duel, Aster had so many opportunities to win. There were so many different moments. It did feel a lot like the animators was like, ooh, ignore that, ignore this. We need Jaden to win this duel. So, ooh. And the fact that Jaden had to use so many draw cards as well. I know it's a staple of Yu-Gi-Oh! Card of Sanctity draw 6 cards in the old one, but Bubble Man draw 2, into Pot of Greed draw 2, into Graceful Charity draw 3, discard 2, into Graceful Charity add the discard cards back to the hand. Oof. Could Aster have won this duel? Yes, many times. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I had a lot of fun making this one. Let me know in the comment section below any misplays or things like that you might have noticed that I didn't. But other than that, check out one of these videos if you fancy. If not, subscribe to the channel for more of this kind of content. All the best. Bye everyone.